Welcome to today's video. We're going to be talking about JavaScript. This is going to be a beginners to help you get started of why you might choose it if you're learning programming and some of the basic syntax and functions to help you get inspired. And hopefully you'll like this video. And if you do, please comment and let me know if you'd like to see more of this series. So let's jump right in. First of all, why JavaScript? Well, first of all, is it the same as Java? And just to give some background, if you're familiar with Java, Java's been around for a long time. And JavaScript actually used to be called LiveScript or ECMA script, and it changed its name to pick up more momentum because there was a lot of hype with Java. So really it's not common other than its name. So JavaScript is made for the front end, more of the web browsers, although they have recently in the last 5 years added Node.js, which allows you to program or make apps on the back end. And then Java is more designed on the back end applications, but they do have applets that can run on the front end, which is not as favorable. So they each have their strengths in each category. The other thing is JavaScript is more of a interpreted or a scripting language that runs again in the browser, where the Java is compiled into a jar file that runs natively on your computer. So there are different ways that they run and operate, so they are completely different in that way. And lastly, I'm choosing JavaScript because a big explosion in web development with mobile and laptops, a lot of the computing power is available, and it takes more processing to run an interpreted language. However, with all of the power that we have, we're able to run these languages and do a lot more feature-rich content, as you see with all the apps. So a lot of things, majority of our web is written in JavaScript. Some of the things that you want to know to get started is you probably should look into HTML and CSS. Those are kind of the foundation, or HTML5, to help you get started. And then you can work your way. If you have a little bit of background there, it really helps. Okay, in this video, this is what we're going to talk about in our demo. I'm going to cover some of the basics to get you started. That's printing out to the screen, making line comments or multiple line comments, variables, functions, operators, scope. And then in future videos, if you like this one, I'll continue on this series and make some more that get into more functions, such as your for loop and while and so on, just like you would find in other languages. All right, well, now it's time for the demo, so let's jump into that. Okay, welcome to the start of the demo. First, I'd like to show you what editor I'm using. I'm using Atom. Atom comes along with GitHub. That's the reason I chose it, because if you look down here, you can stage your files and automatically push or pull them directly from the editor. You don't need to use another application. So that's what I chose. There are other ones out there. I won't go into the demo of these, but Sublime or Notepad++ are really popular ones you can use. But that's just a quick side note. So over here you have tabs of the different files that you're using, and then over here you can see them as well. So first, let's start off with the print command and also comment. And I'll go through these pretty quickly. That way this video isn't too long. And as you notice, you're going to need HTML in here to get it to run in your browser. So I'm going to show you this in Chrome, how it looks. You can also run this in the Chrome console, but I'm going to do this in the editor. So you want your basic set of tags in here, like HTML, your header, and we're going to place this in the body. So as soon as you get down to here, your script type, that's where you're going to insert and start your Java. So from here to this script is your block of code for JavaScript. The rest is HTML. So the first thing to do is document.write. That is just like a print command in any other language, and that's going to tell you, welcome to JavaScript Basics. As soon as you come over here, welcome to JavaScript Basics. I have another couple in here as well, a couple more lines. In order to do comments, a single line is // and that will comment out any line. So if we do that here, we save and run that, you can see it took out that line. If you want to comment out multiple lines, a multi-line comment is this here. So /* at the beginning and */ at the end. So if we move this down here and we save, we're going to have just the one document right. So if we move it back, save and run that, we'll have the multiple lines. So that's the simple one in that. Let's go on to variables. So same thing, same standard HTML here. Inside of the script, we have a couple lines. So a variable is simple var, then your variable names. I'm into guitar playing, as you could tell, so that's why I chose guitar strings, and then a string of 6, or a numerical value. Document.write output, guitar, the variable name, gets 6. So if we run that, we'll have 6. The next variable to talk about here is the different types. So here's a number, which I just showed you, var, and then here's a string, so that's your text. Okay, and then a Boolean, which is true or false. So you can see there's 3 different types of ones we can store. So let's save and run that. Right now it's set to the last statement, but if we comment and rerun it, you'll get the last one here, the last variable stored, because it's overriding. So this was the first one, and then you ran it again, so it's going to use the second one. Okay, let's go on to the next variable. So we have a variable name. Here's my name. Here's my age. All right, so we're going to do the variable, which is name. We're calling it, and then plus we're going to add some text. So in quotes, put whatever text you like, plus another variable, and what it should print out is my name, and 35 is my age. Okay, so another example here, we have some text that we're going to concatenate together. So I have 3 more variables: language, instrument, food, document write, and then the variable plus variable plus variable. And as you can see, my favorite language is JavaScript, my favorite instrument is guitar, my favorite food is oatmeal. All right, let's keep moving on. Let's go on to a function. What is a function? A function is the best way I've heard it described is if somebody asks you a question, the same question 3 times, they recommend you write a blog post. Well, if you have to write the same line of code 3 times, it's recommended you write a function. So it's essentially you're just repeating or automating different lines of code to help refactor or slim down, and so it's less complicated or complex, and you can recall that same function. So that's what a function does. So here I have a function, I call it guitar, and Java has this default called alert, and now I'm going to put some text in there. You just played the G chord, which is a chord if you're starting out. And then down here, we're going to put it into a form, so it's going to pop up on the screen as a button, as a type, the value. This is what it's going to say, and on-click guitar. So let's take a look at that one. So there is the button. I click it, and you said just played G chord. That's how that function works. All right, let's go on to another function. All right, so now this function, we're going to give it x as a variable. We're going to alert I love x. Okay, so let's go in here and define some of those. So here, the guitar, music, and artists. All right, so let's go over here and run this one. And what it's going to do is it's going to pop up. Let's rerun it. It says I love the guitar, okay. I love music, okay. I love artists, all artists. So it's essentially going to run each one of those functions. All right, next one we're going to have a function 1 and 2. We're going to write the first function, some text, the second function, and then we're going to break out of it. Okay, so here's some of the ones we have. For fruit, this is the first variable, apples. Here's the second one, strawberries. Coconuts, the first one, 2 grapes. Watermelon, 1, blueberries, 2. Okay, let's go ahead and run that one. And as you can see, apples are better than strawberries. Coconuts are better than grapes. So essentially what you're doing is you're taking the first one out of the list here, adding the text, taking the second one out of the list, and then doing the same thing for the next line. All right, the next function we have is a return. So we have function with the name. We're going to return this. We're going to document write this function. Okay, so that's the first example. Let's take a look at that one. And it's going to be jammin 9. So, or it's going to return jammin. 9 is for the next one. So let's look at the next example. Function, we're going to add a number. So we have in here in this example a and b equals c. So our variable is c, which we're going to output. That's the equal, and we're going to take a and b and add those to it. So a and b equals c, and we're going to return c. And then what we're going to do is write it out, add numbers, call this function 3 and 9. So 3 and 9 should equal, or sorry, 3 and 6 should equal 9. So that's where you get 9. So it's using the first function here, the second function there. All right, let's look at the next function. Okay, this function, we're going to do a series of 2 commands. So the first one is called do first, the second one's called do second. And then the next function is what this actually does. So when it starts, it's going to perform first and second. So this is how you start it. So this is what initializes, and then it goes into the function start, and it says do first, do second. So what it's going to do is output who's on first, and then who's on second. So let's run that. There it is. Who's on first, who's on second. So you just did a series of 2 functions. Okay, let's talk about math operators. Math operators are pretty much the same in any programming language. You're going to need to know this for order of operations. So just like you would in algebra, you follow the same order of operations. You have your addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. You have what's called the modulus, which is like a remainder. You have the increment and the decrement. So let's talk about those. So in the first example, var, I set to bananas, is 4 times 4. So let's output that one to the screen. Save and run that. And we get 16. And then, okay, let's comment out that one. In the next example, I've set var bananas to 7, and we are going to add 1. And let's output that one to the screen. Save and run that. And we get 8. 7 plus 1 is 8. In the next example, we're going to increment. So what you do is bananas plus plus. So plus is the operator, and we're going to add 1 to it. So let's get rid of that one. And we'll write it out here. Save and run that. So you get the same answer, 7 plus 1. In the next example, we're going to subtract by minus 1. So let's save and run that. And we should get 6. So 7 minus 1. So you can see kind of how the basics of the and the syntax of the math operators work. All right, let's go to the next one, assignment operators. This one's pretty similar. We have set a variable to age, and now we're going to add to it. Then this one here subtracts 32, multiplies 4, divides by 5. Okay, and then you can also use the modulus here. So let's save and run that one. And let me show you each of these. So let's go in and comment these and we'll run them. So 35 is our first one. Now let's add 67. We're going to get 102. Let's subtract 32. You can check my math here. 70. We're going to multiply by 4. Get 280. And then divide by 5. 56. So that's your assignment operators. Okay, that's the basics to help you get started of why you'd want to choose JavaScript, and then some basics essentials to get you started, such as variables, functions, and math operations, those standards you should learn with any languages. Comment if you like this video or if you'd like to see more of JavaScript, and it'll hopefully get me to create some more for you. I hope you enjoyed our topic today. If you'd like to see more of these videos, be sure to comment and subscribe to get notified of future videos. Or go to our website, knowledgemavens.org, and subscribe to our mailing list. That way you can get notified of topics, invites, videos, codes, slides, and much more every single week. Until next time, cheers.